Now that Elon Musk's time is up as a special government employee, some money managers and or analysts have thoughts.
So what next for Tesla?
I think, Kelly, quickly that full self-driving will be with us soon. Musk announced that the cars were going to drive themselves from the factory to the buyer. He's always early, but it may happen, and I think that's an important change. Megapack, which is the energy business, is growing at 113% previous quarter, 70% last quarter, and is now being mandated when there are renewables because of what happened in Spain. It's the most profitable, fastest growing part of Tesla. And then we've got 500,000 manufacturing jobs that are not filled. And Tesla announced they're going to have thousands of robots on the factory floor by the end of the year. So I think the company is back. I think every shareholder is glad to see it. And you can see the run up in the stock. We added to it around $240 a share in March, and it's trading around 350. At your peril, you underestimate Elon Musk, who often teeters on the edge of a disaster and then pivots at just the right moment.
I just need to take a moment here. The amount of incredible stuff that's happening at Tesla now, or just around the corner, PS June, motherfuckers, outrageous. The Megapack business is growing at a phenomenal rate, extremely profitable, near infinite demand for these things. They are literal money printers. Tesla continues to be one of the only companies producing any profitable electric vehicles, period. Maybe the only company right now. Robotaxi's operating this month, June, in Austin. The Optimus humanoid robot moving ahead at lightning pace. How can you not be extremely bullish on this company?
Nancy, it's commonplace, obviously, now to observe that the core actual car company that's producing cash flow is a small minority of whatever market value you can now attribute to the whole business. It's $1.1 trillion. The business is going to have $10 billion in earnings next year. Put a huge multiple on it. It's still less than half. Do you have to have a pretty strong sense of how quickly all the other things can kick in and actually start to become a business?
This is a pretty interesting question relating to how quickly all the future money printers will start printing enormous amounts of money for Tesla. I'm much more interested in if they will, as opposed to how quickly they will. That said, I think the Robotaxi business and the humanoid robots are going to surprise a lot of people with how quickly it scales and prints billions and billions and billions of dollars of quarterly profits. I think the investment time horizon, a long-term perspective versus a short-term trader mentality, is really what separates people who make meaningful wealth over time and or attempt to make quick profits. This is why I model Tesla out privately more than 10 years, but my public valuation model, which you guys can access on Patreon at the best level and above, from day one, 2021, has always been a 10-year model spanning an entire decade. And I really think that's the minimum viable time frame investors should be looking at any company. If your time horizon is much shorter than that, you may completely overlook enormous opportunities. Because if they fall outside that time frame, or you're not exactly sure, maybe it's going to take 6 years or 3 years or 7 years, it's too far, I'm only thinking 12 months, you can miss enormous growth opportunities. So a much better question isn't how soon until this prints crazy money. Much better way to think about this is, will this print crazy money while I'm still holding the stock?
I think this stock is a narrative stock, Mike. Go back and look at Amazon all those years. It's up something like 180,000% since the IPO. And much of that time, the company was not earning money. Think of the car, the EV, as the iPhone is to the Apple ecosystem. I think the full self-driving aspect, I live in Phoenix, which is Waymo land, and it's commonplace to see these driverless cars toting passengers around. I think that part of the business is going to scale quickly and will probably be monetized pretty quickly. So it's all about the ecosystem, in my view, with Tesla. It's not about valuation, and it's not even necessarily about earnings growth, because they whiffed last quarter and the stock's up 50%.
Dan Ives also has some thoughts.
It's a pop the champagne moment for Tesla investors because the biggest asset for Tesla is Musk. But this ends really what was a dark chapter for Tesla investors. And I think for Musk, it took on a life of its own. I don't think he ever anticipated, him going to the Trump White House and Doge was going to take on this in terms of some of the brand issues as well as everything we saw.
How deep would you describe those brand issues as being? Like, how much equity value has been lost to the company because of his time spent there?
I think ultimately you could have a stock that's probably 20% higher from here. I think ultimately...
Is that already priced in? Was that the move this month?
Look, I believe we're looking at a $2 trillion market cap for Tesla. When autonomous and robotics plays out, in my opinion, this along with NVIDIA are two of the best disruptive technology companies in the world. But it speaks to why.
Here's where I struggle with the Tesla thesis a little bit, right? The AI, everything they're doing is amazing, except that what's coming out of China, to me, as a non-expert, seems more amazing.
Well, at least she confessed not only does she struggle, but she is a non-expert. Not to pour cold water on what's happening with electric vehicles in China or some of their advanced driver assist tech. Pretty cool, but not on par with Tesla. Tesla's Model Y is still outselling all vehicles in China, not just electric vehicles, but vehicles, period. The best-selling vehicle last year in China will be again this year. And it's also the best-selling vehicle globally. There are competing local Chinese companies producing and selling electric vehicles, in some cases half the price of a Model Y, some cases a third the price of a Model Y, or even less. And Tesla's one of the only, if not the only company on the planet selling electric vehicles profitably, period. So the vehicles, put that to the side. In terms of the advanced driver assist, some great stuff happening there in China, but clearly not on par with Tesla. FSD supervised now available in China. And all you need to do, listen to the responses of people in China who've been testing and comparing the software. They are stunned at the capabilities of FSD supervised. As a non-expert, it's worth listening to the opinions at scale of a bunch of customers in China who are using Tesla's FSD supervised, only recently released there. Look at some of their tests and comparisons, their thoughts and opinions. It's blowing minds. And don't just listen to what people in China are saying about FSD supervised. Watch the unedited videos of it handling many different situations, busy traffic, intersections, road work, unmarked lanes, and so on. Believe your eyes. The current narrative, of course, the competition is coming, but not from legacy automotive companies, but from China. But again, what actually matters are the results here, and Tesla's still outselling all the Chinese companies in China with their Model Y, and blowing minds with the recent release of FSD Supervised. It's also worth thinking about the fact that FSD Supervised didn't exist in China a couple of months ago, yet suddenly it's already on par with, if not exceeding, the capabilities of all the local software that's been on the market for multiple years. How did that happen? Because Tesla has produced a generalized solution to autonomy. The vehicles know how to drive, period. Not know how to drive on this block in this city, in this country. For using the term amazing, what I would suggest is amazing is the fact that Tesla has almost overnight released an incredible piece of software called FSD Supervised in China that didn't take years and years and years of local operation at low scale before it had incredible capabilities on par with everything else in China.
The prices of these cars, the sort of self-driving-ish capabilities that they have, can you lay out, are those companies as good as what Tesla has? And why is Waymo ahead of them?
Yeah.
How am I?
Well, apparently I've addressed most of these before Dan's had a chance to respond to the question. Kind of saw this coming. I addressed the prices. No one's making money at those price points other than Tesla, who are selling for 2 to 3 times as much. And best-selling vehicle in China. Remind me again. Oh, that's right, Tesla made it. And here we go. Waymo's ahead of Tesla. I've covered this too many times to rehash. Other than to say, I'll be very curious to hear what happens to the narrative that Waymo is well ahead of Tesla as Tesla flies past on the most meaningful metric, autonomous miles driven, in the coming years.
Am I supposed to be so blown away by Tesla when Waymo's over here with self-driving cars already?
Okay, it's a great point. But so when you look at Waymo, essentially in 4 cities, 230,000-hour cars each, right? So the question there is, can it scale? So our whole view with Tesla is when it comes to scale, I view it as unmatched relative to engineering talent and the ability to scale. And I think Austin, what kicks off June 12th, to me, is really just the start of what's going to be the autonomous vision. And I believe we're sitting here a year from now, and cybercabs, robotaxis are going to be in 10, 15, 20
You think they
cities.
can have the cybercab manufactured in a year from now?
Oh, I think they could get to scale very quickly. And I think, again, look, the technology that's coming out of China is significant. And someone that's seen it firsthand in terms of BYD and everything that we're looking at. But when it comes to globally, who I believe is going to dominate autonomous
but
and
aren't
robotics.
the Chinese going to do? They have cars, SUVs that cost $7,000 with some of these capabilities, right?
Well, that's all good. I've yet to see a $7,000 Chinese electric vehicle with comparable software to Tesla's FSD. That being said, the robotaxi market in China is going to be, per mile, the least profitable in absolute dollar amount of anywhere in the world. There's got to be a lot of extremely unsafe, and I mean in terms of safety features like airbags, etc., autonomous vehicles operating in China. There are extremely low wage expectations in China anyway, so autonomous vehicles versus human-driven, it's not to say it's not an important market to participate in, but the real profit drivers for autonomy, United States, Europe, in fact, there's going to be a pretty strong correlation with robotaxi profits per mile and per capita GDP.
Right, these EV cars with some of the robotic elements. How much scale I can see them dominating the U.S. market for sure, absolutely. Is their engineering, their ability, what they've done with these factories better, just mind-bogglingly amazing, of course. But are they going to be able to compete on the world stage?
Look, and I think on the world stage, I think it'll be their world. Everyone else will pay rent. In terms of my view, when they get to scale and as the regulatory environment gives them an even playing field, and I think that also speaks to why Musk, it's no longer about being in the 202 area code. It's about being at Tesla, leaders lead. And I think this is going to go down. The biggest chapter of Tesla's growth story is ahead of us.
Do you think he's more excited about the humanoid robot than about the future of self-driving cars? That's where we're seeing so much discussion. It's amazing what he's doing at SpaceX. Forget the fact that, even the last rocket launch, making it to where it did, everything else that he has going on right now, so many different touch points with so much promise. Do you think Tesla still retains the same excitement and promise for him?
I think ultimately the golden goose, the hearts and lungs of the Musk ecosystem is Tesla. And I think that's why he read the room well, starting with going back to that earnings call. And I think everything we've seen here, it's not coincidental the stocks had to move, because my view is $500 is base value in terms of where I see shares. But Kelly, I think we're going to look at next year or two, and I think this is really going to be a golden era for Tesla when it comes to autonomous and robotics, led by Musk. And that's why this dark chapter now, today, ends. I see a bright future ahead.
Talk about being dramatic. Dark chapter. Now, to Dan's earlier point, though, definitely entering a golden era of growth for Tesla on the back of AI, which includes robotaxis and, far more importantly, for the bottom line, humanoid robots. And I do, again, want to put my prediction on the record. The deployment of Tesla's first robotaxis, which will be Model Ys in Austin, June, aka this month, motherfuckers, is likely to cause a major distraction, masking an enormous amount of progress that's happening with the humanoid robots, which themselves, in terms of profits long-term for Tesla, will make autonomy look like a rounding error, and the profits from autonomy are going to make Tesla's entire vehicle business look like a rounding error. The humanoid robot is the final product. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs.